All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Gonna look at its local Google search, city Google search, see if it has BSS for either of them. And we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, aka full spectrum intent capture. If you want more info on that, yeah, somewhere, pin post, pin video on the profile. And it's our North Star because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. Those that are rising, they're probably bringing in peeps from the entire intent ladder, the intent spectrum. High intent here on the left to low intent way over on the right. Here we talk about the highest intent peeps, Google search, social media search, searching right now for a boudoir photo shoot in our city. That's where we talk about BSS. All the way at the other end, those are interruption ads like Facebook, Instagram. It's our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And right now over there, we're only working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month on boudoir Facebook ads. So we're focusing on the two intent extremes right now. So here we're talking about BSS, which is boudoir search sameness. As when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. 0 slots means if we're not on page 1, we basically don't exist. We're on page 2 or deeper. And we already know that approximately 80% of Google searches never go past page 1. So that's the bulk of the market, that's most of the market. And if they have zeros, basically if we're in 0 slots on page 1, we're basically invisible and we're going downhill pretty fast. 1 slot on page 1, Google is not good enough either, because every other boudoir photographer on there is also going to have most likely 1 slot. So, if there's 10 organic slots per Google, search page, the a buyer is just going to be clicking on everyone's website, contacting everyone, price shopping us against literally everyone, and as a result, we're actually going to we're actually going to not stand out, be price shopped. People probably go to the lowest bid, all things like that. So boudoir search sameness, no bueno. We also know that 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Yeah, it's not normal to have such few number of slots for ourselves on page 1 of Google. Extremely common, but not normal. This is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. There's 2 deeper root causes. One, basically everyone knows about, market saturation, and another one, basically nobody knows about, the false belief of page 1 equality. So first, market saturation, that's someone getting a new iPhone, then they're throwing up their Google My Business profile saying they shoot boudoir, now they got a website saying they shoot boudoir, saturating the market. Or someone gets a new camera, now they're posting the mom groups saying that for boudoir photo shoots. So it's more sellers to the same number of buyers, driving down the price for everyone. And usually this results in other boudoir photographers kind of getting kicked out of the market, going bankrupt, closing down shop. Now, basically everyone knows that, and also a big thing that happened with that was COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs, still to earn money, became boudoir photographers because everyone's got a great camera on their phone, on their cell phone. And so that was another, supply shock, seller shock, way more sellers to the same number of buyers. It was when COVID happened. Now the not currently very known false belief of page 1 equality. That belief is that kind of every boudoir photographer gets, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And, maybe we had our website ranked on page 1 of Google, but then more boudoir photographers came in, kicked us down to page 2, and like, oh, that's simply that's simply how it is. Kind of just we simply gotta take what Google gives us. Hopefully that other person closes down and deletes their website so Google can maybe pull us back onto page 1. But it's kind of out of our hands. That's the belief of page 1 equality, whereas every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1, and that's simply how it is. But that's a false belief. I know that's a false belief because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on Google page 1 search to 9 out of 10 slots Google page 1 search in 10 days. Why? Because I knew page 1 equality is a false belief, And my hypothesis was Google would give me as many slots as I want, page one slots as I wanted to put in the effort to acquire for whichever keywords I want to put in the effort to acquire them from. So that's exactly what I did, which we'll see those results in, whatever, 2 or 3 more pictures. So page one equality, false belief. We also know that boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, so having either 0 or 1 slots page one of Google, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Because look, if you got 0 slots on page one, we already know approximately 80% of Google searches do not go past page one. So we're invisible to 80% of the marketplace. So yeah, we're definitely disappearing. For 1 slot on page one, we're looking the same as everyone else. We're price shopped to death. We're disappearing as well. And this is kind of the canary in the coal mine, where BSS causes disappearing boudoir photographers, and basically all disappearing boudoir photographers also have BSS, what kind of is foreshadowing for the eventual disappearance of the entire boudoir photography business. So this is the canary in the coal mine. So we got to solve first. We got to stop the bleeding here. And luckily we have a solution, because we now have learned through extensive testing that BSS is treated with social search saturation. This is our S-cubed methodology. We invented it. You cannot get this solution from anybody else. And social search saturation is exactly what it says. We saturate social search with the highest intent search terms to show up there and kick everyone else out. These are kind of like, the smaller rivers that feed into the Amazon. And kind of when we do that successfully, that flows down into the Amazon, flows onto Google. And many times Google will start giving us more and more page one slots for those more and more keywords we're ranking for in social search. So it's called social search saturation S-cubed methodology. We want to be saturating social search at all times, because if we're not, someone else in our city probably is. If nobody is, then we got the first mover advantage to do it. So S-cubed methodology, the other magical thing about this is the only thing I've ever seen for boudoir photographers that can successfully fight against market saturation and essentially render it, null and void. Because imagine we're in Miami, Florida. Let's say there's 1 million boudoir photographers. Everyone's got a website for their boudoir photography business. They're ranking it. They're competing for page one Google search. But let's say we take S-cubed methodology to the max. We rank for the first, 300 slots for the highest intent search terms for boudoir in our city across all the major social media platforms. So we saturate social search. We're there. Can't find anyone until slot 301 and after. As a result, we're saturating the first 300 slots on Google as well. Well, each page on Google is 10 organic slots, and so that's 30 pages. You gotta go basically any buyer's gotta go page 31 to find any of our 999,999 competitors, because we cranked S-cubed methodology up to the maximum. So, whose business is growing? Ours. Whose business is growing the fastest in the city? Ours, because buyers can essentially really only find us, because we're everywhere they look. Basically, we're gonna kick out, box out all the other competitors, and we already know, approximately 80% of Google searches never go past page one, so they definitely ain't going to page 31. So this is what S-cubed methodology enables us to do for all those who want to put in the effort to achieve it. Now, once you're with S-cubed methodology, we have page one visibility. We're finally visible on page one, even though if we had 1 slot there, we're not actually visible there because we look the same as everyone else. We get an added bonus of this where we're kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. They get kicked out to page 2 or deeper. And again, we know approximately 80% of boudoir photographers, or approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They're page 1 only searches, which means page 2 and deeper is invisible, disappearing boudoir photographer, canary in the coal mine. Eventually, the boudoir photography business will disappear. So we achieve page 1 visibility once we overcome market saturation and page 1. We crash through the false belief of page 1 equality. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So here we want to hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1 for local search and city search. Because when we're at 3 out of 10 slots, I mean, we've kicked off at least 2 to 3 other competitors from page 1. Also, compared to everyone that has 1 slot on page 1, we got 3. People are going to say, wow, why is Google recommending this person so much? They're going to auto trust us more. And the very rare chance someone else has 2 slots on page 1, well, we're at 3, and so we're always beating them. So it activates boudoir search visibility for us. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. This is our micro universe here. We got disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by market saturation and page 1 equality. We now have a solution now, S-cubed methodology. And as a result, we achieve page 1 visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Now onto my results I got using this. So I was using this, I want to rank for the term BLCS boudoir. And I use S-cubed methodology, that's exactly what I did. And what I actually did was, here, organic, we started spot 1, we got organic slot 1, we got organic 2, we got organic, so slot 3, me, slot 4, me, slot 5, me, slot 6, me, slot 7, me, slot 8, me, and slot 10 is me. So I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 in 10 days. And this is through utilizing S-cubed methodology that we invented, that cannot get this from anyone else. We invented it, we created it. And so this is the power of S-cubed methodology. All right, now to the main event here. You can see that this boudoir photography business has BSS, boudoir search sameness for the local search, for their local search and their city search. So, all right. All right, so let's see what we got cooking here. So we gotta go down to the organic. So this is the local Portage Park. All right. All right, let's see. Nope. All right, there we go. See him right there. We got 1. All right, so we got 1 out of 10. Dude, we got BSS. Got local, for local search, we got BSS. We got 1 out of 10 slots. Google page 1. All right, let's go to city search now. Chicago ill. All right, so scrolling, looking. Nope. All right, dude, we're at 0 out of 10. So 1 out of 10 for local, 0 out of 10 for city. So it means we do have BSS for both of them, which means we are not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 for both local and city. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer and you did your local search for yourself and your city search for yourself, and you're saying you have BSS, boudoir search sameness, and or you have not reached the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1, and you now understand and you've accepted that page 1 equality is a false belief, that boudoir photographers is not given 0, 1 slots on page 1. They can actually take, and Google will give them as many page 1 slots as they want to put in the effort for. And you see the S-cubed methodology is the only way to get you there. And you understand the market saturation? Yeah, people get phones. Yeah, more boudoir photographers over time. People get cameras. Yep, more boudoir photographers over time. And you're actually thinking ahead. You're seeing AI taking people's jobs, which is actually going to force more people into the marketplace as boudoir photographers. So it's going to saturate the market more and more, because why? Everyone's got an amazing camera on their smartphone. So that'll be the easiest thing for people to become, or to throw up their Google business profile or offer in the marketplace on the mom groups in a boudoir photographer. And as a result, we actually, so you've actually decided you decided you want to fortify your positions, kind of like levees in New Orleans, kind of keeping the ocean water out because New Orleans is below sea level. So you decided you want to fortify your position in preparation of all the increasing new boudoir photographers going to be coming into the market because of AI taking people's jobs. And you also want to kick out current competitors from page one, which you can see S-Cube methodology can help with both, and kind of establish your current position more and fortify your position more against the future boudoir photographers that are inevitably going to be entering the market. And you're seeing S-Cube methodology is the only path to get you there. You want to achieve page one visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer. You want to have boudoir search visibility because you know you need it on your path to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you also want the extra back-end benefits of doing all this, S-Cube methodology every single day. What it actually does is it creates thematic keyword columns around your name, around your brand, around your business's name. And what building these invisible thematic keyword columns do attached to your brand, your business, they actually increase the probability you get recommended here AI overview, the most premium slot on the page, where many times it'll only be recommend one boudoir photographer in the AI overview. And so you've actually decided, you see kind of these back-end benefits of S-Cube methodology as well, which is increase in probability AI overview recommends us every time, every day S-Cube methodology is executed. It increases that probability. And on also the second back-end benefit is all the AI search apps, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini, all those searches when someone's searching, boudoir photographer in my city, as we utilize S-Cube methodology to build up these invisible thematic keyword columns attached to our brand, higher probability we get recommended by the AI search. And this just increases over time the more we execute S-Cube methodology. Now, right now, Google's still approximately 90% of global search, but AI search increases every single day. I mean, I don't think I've used Google search to actually click on links and read stuff in like a year. But I use, Google AI mode, click the tab all the time. I don't want to click through things to read it. Simply give me the summary. And last time I used AI search, I used ChatGPT search to find some boudoir photographers in the city, or recommend some, and it gave me 3. But dude, the city had like 60. Like when I owned to manually look. So a higher chance we get recommended in those. And also you understand kind of more you build up these invisible thematic keywords associated to your brand, your profiles, and all that, which only S-Cube methodology can deliver, that the more momentum you're building and the larger space you're building between you and your competitors that are behind you, or competitors in the city. Because right now my plan is to only operate with one boudoir photographer in the city, which means, dude, we'll begin massive progress, or kind of massive distance between us and your competitors. And you realize if your competitor instead went with me, you would have to rederive S-Cube methodology all on your own, and then go out and execute it. You probably wouldn't be confident executing it because you wouldn't know if you derived and are even using the methodology correctly. But then you'd have to go out execute me and your competitor. But actually, you'd have to equal our execution to simply maintain our gap, the gap that we got ahead of you with. And you'd actually have to actually double or triple our output to, catch up and overtake our gap and overtake the progress we've already made, steal back the momentum, the invisible thematic keyword columns that we had been working to attach to their brand. You'd have to overcome that all on your own and kind of rederive the whole system from the jump. So you decide, screw that. It's better to simply be the first mover here, seal off anyone else, any other competitor in your city from using this strategy. And you decide S-Cube methodology is the path that you want to go down. So if that's you, shoot me a DM. My DMs are currently closed. The hospital is not currently taking new patients. But as when I do open up for new patient intake, shoot me a DM and we'll see if you qualify for using S-Cubed methodology.